It all started mundanely. My wife Emma broke her ankle a month before the city ballroom dancing tournament. I was thinking of withdrawing when Stephanie, my mother-in-law, offered an unexpected solution. "I could replace Emma," she said during family dinner. "I used to dance when I was young." "Mom, that's a great idea," Emma exclaimed from the couch where she lay with her plastered leg. "Lucas, you won't refuse, will you?" I looked at Stephanie and thought that at 45 she looked stunning. Divorce had done her good. A toned figure, dancer's posture, some special grace in her movements. "If you don't mind," she smiled. "I promise to be an obedient partner." The first rehearsal was awkward. We were getting used to each other, to the touches that are inevitable in dance. "Relax," she said, when I missed the rhythm for the third time. "Pretend I'm not your mother-in-law." "Then who?" "Just a woman, your partner." She really turned out to be a talented dancer. She picked everything up quickly, moved with ease, felt the music with her whole body. "You have amazing chemistry," our choreographer Mike noticed after the first week. "Haven't seen such a harmonious couple in a long time." I noticed how Stephanie blushed slightly. "Just lucky with my partner," I replied, trying to sound casual. "No, there's something special here." Mike shook his head. "When you dance, the air around literally sparkles." In the changing room, Stephanie asked, "Do you feel it too?" "What?" "This energy between us, when we dance." I looked at her, flushed after rehearsal with strands of hair escaping from her bun. "I feel it. Is that normal?" "For dancing, yes. And for us?" I didn't answer, because any answer would have been dangerous. At home, Emma watched videos of our rehearsals with delight. "You look so beautiful together." "Mom, I had no idea you danced so amazingly." And I looked at the screen and thought about how the beauty of our dance was starting to scare me, because there was something too real in it, too personal. "Tomorrow we start learning Pasodoble," Stephanie said before leaving. "Ready? For the dance?" "For that, too." Something flashed in her eyes that made my breath catch. I already knew. This duet would change everything. The question was only whether I was ready for these changes. Pasodoble is the most passionate of ballroom dances. It requires complete dedication, absolute trust between partners. And the closer Stephanie and I got to its essence, the more dangerous our rehearsals became. "You need to lead more confidently," Mike said. "This is a dance of the toreador and his passion. Hold her tighter." I felt how her body tensed in my arms, how her breathing quickened. "Like this?" My fingers slid along her back. "Stronger." Her whisper was barely audible. The music intensified. The movements became more intimate. At some point I caught our reflection in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. There was someone else, passionate, confident, holding a beautiful woman as if he had the right to. "Excellent," Mike shouted. "That's chemistry, now turn." She spun in my arms, her skirt swirling up, revealing slender legs. Final pose. She in a deep bend, I holding her waist, our faces an inch apart. "Perfect," she breathed. I felt the heat of her body, the scent of perfume mixed with a light aroma of sweat. "Break," Mike announced. We jumped apart too hastily. In the changing room, she changed behind the screen, but I could still see her silhouette. Graceful, alluring. "What are you thinking about?" Her voice pulled me from dangerous thoughts. "About the tournament." "You're lying," she came out, fixing her hair. "But I won't ask what you're really thinking about." In the evening, Emma watched new videos. "God, this Pasodoble. You and Mom look like real lovers." I choked on water. "Honey, are you okay?" "Yes, just water went down the wrong way." "You know," she continued, "I'm even a bit jealous. You spend so much time together. It's just dancing." "Really?" I looked at my wife, sincere care read in her eyes, and that made it even worse. At the next rehearsal, Stephanie wore a new dress, red, with a deep slit. "Like it?" She twirled in front of the mirror. "Too much? Too beautiful? Too dangerous?" She froze. "Why dangerous?" "You know why." That day, our Pasodoble was especially bright. Mike applauded. "Now that's passion. If you dance like this at the tournament, first place is ours." And we stood in the final pose and I felt her heart beating. Or was it mine pounding so wildly? 1 week until the tournament, she said in the changing room. Will we manage? With the dance? With ourselves. I looked at her. Flushed, beautiful, forbidden. We must. And if we can't? Instead of answering, I left the changing room. Because any answer would have been wrong. 1 week until the tournament. A week of dancing on the edge of what's allowed. A week of fighting with what can no longer be denied. And we both knew. This week would change everything. The hotel in San Diego greeted us with air-conditioned coolness. Emma couldn't come because of her cast, and Stephanie and I found ourselves truly alone for the first time. Rooms on the 4th floor. The administrator handed over the keys. Next to each other, as requested. Thank you. Stephanie didn't look at me. Meet in the rehearsal hall in an hour? The hall turned out to be huge, with mirrored walls and wooden parquet. At 10 in the evening, it was completely empty. Shall we dance? She was already in her practice dress, hair gathered in a high bun. Music filled the space. Pasodoble, passionate, demanding. Our bodies moved in perfect synchronicity. Closer, she whispered in a turn. I pulled her to me, feeling the warmth of her body through the thin fabric. More. Her back arched in my arms, head thrown back. The mirrors reflected dozens of our copies, intertwined in dance, balancing on the edge. Stephanie! Don't stop! We whirled around the empty hall, and with each beat, the boundaries between dance and reality blurred more and more. Final pose. She in a deep bend, my lips at her neck. I could feel how wildly her pulse was beating under the skin. This isn't dance anymore, she breathed. I know, and hasn't been for a while. I know. She straightened up but didn't pull away. My hands still on her waist, her palms on my chest. We should stop. We should. But instead, I leaned down and kissed her. She responded immediately, as if she had been waiting for this for a long time. Her lips were salty from sweat, fingers tangled in my hair. Lucas, shh. The second kiss was deeper, more desperate. We backed up until we hit the mirrored wall. This is madness, she whispered. Complete madness. Emma. Not now. Her body responded to every touch. We were still moving in rhythm. Now not to music, but to our own hearts. A sudden sound in the corridor made us jump apart. We need to go. She fixed her dress with trembling hands. Tomorrow is an important day. Stephanie! No, please, let's pretend this was just a dance. But we both knew. That was a lie. What was happening between us had long ceased to be just dance. In the elevator, she stood pressed against the opposite wall. But I could still feel the heat of her body, see her chest rising from rapid breathing. Good night, she whispered at her door. Good night. But we both knew. Neither of us would sleep that night. The night before the tournament, I couldn't sleep. My head was spinning with the events of the evening rehearsal, the taste of her lips, the warmth of her body. My phone beeped. Message from Stephanie. Can't sleep? No. Me neither. Come to the hall. Need to talk. She was waiting by the panoramic window, in a silk robe with loose hair. The night city sparkled with lights far below. What did you want to talk about? I stood beside her. Don't know, just can't be alone. Her hand touched mine. An electric current ran through my body. Stephanie, you know, she turned to me, all my life I've been proper. A good mother, faithful wife. Then the divorce happened, and I realized sometimes you just need to feel. And what do you feel now? The same thing you do. This time she kissed me first. Deeply, passionately, without hesitation. Not here, she breathed between kisses. Where? My room. It's at the end of the corridor. No one will see. It was madness. But we couldn't stop anymore. Her robe fell to the floor as soon as the door closed behind us. Last chance to change your mind, she whispered. Instead of answering, I pulled her to me. We moved like in a dance. Perfect synchronicity. Absolute trust. Lucas! Shh! Her skin smelled of perfume and something spicy. Every touch was like an electric shock. We gave in to passion under the distant noise of the city. Slowly, tenderly, memorizing every moment. Afterward, we just lay thoughtfully. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "That this will change everything." "It already has." A heavy silence fell in the room. "Emma will never forgive," she whispered. "I know, and I won't forgive myself." "And now? Do you regret it?" She propped herself up on her elbow, looked into my eyes. "No, and that's what scares me the most." "I need to go," I said at dawn. "Of course. Tomorrow is an important day." At the door she caught my hand. "Lucas." "Yes?" "This was beautiful and terrible at the same time." I kissed her one last time and went out into the empty corridor. 6 hours remained until the tournament. In my room, I stood in the shower for a long time, trying to wash off the scent of her perfume. It didn't help. The phone beeped. Message from Emma. "Good luck tomorrow, honey. You and Mom will be the best." I looked at these words and felt everything inside contract with guilt, and with the realization that I could no longer imagine my life without Stephanie's touch. The tournament morning began with bustle. Stephanie avoided my gaze, completely immersed in preparation. Makeup, hair, costume. "Nervous?" asked Mike, our choreographer. "You both seemed tense." "Everything's fine," Stephanie replied. "Just anxious before the performance." But when we stepped onto the dance floor, something changed. The music began, and the world disappeared. Only the two of us remained. The Pasodoble was perfect. Every movement, every turn filled with the passion that overwhelmed us. The hall erupted in applause. "Amazing!" Mike shouted. "Now that's chemistry." If only he knew what kind of chemistry was between us. During the break, Stephanie caught me backstage. "We need to talk. Now? While I have the strength." We found an empty dressing room. She closed the door and leaned against it. "This has to end," she said. "Why?" "Because I love my daughter more than I love you." "And do you love me?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, and that's killing me." I stepped toward her. "Stephanie." "No," she put up her hand. "Don't touch me, otherwise I won't be able to—" "What?" "Let you go." At that moment, there was a knock on the door. 5 minutes until the next performance. "What should we do?" I asked. "What we must. Dance. And then each returns to their own life." "What if I don't want to return? What if I don't want to destroy my daughter's life?" She was right. We both knew it. The final dance was different, more restrained, almost sad. But the judges liked it. "First place," the host announced. Stephanie smiled, accepting congratulations. I held her waist for photos, feeling her trembling under my hands. "Mom, Lucas, you won!" Emma's voice on the phone rang with happiness. "I'm so proud of you." Stephanie turned away, wiping tears. At the hotel, she stopped me at her door. "Don't come tonight." "Why?" "Because if you come, we won't be able to stop anymore." "What if I don't want to stop?" "But I do, for her sake." She closed the door, leaving me in the empty corridor with a gold medal and a broken heart. In my room, I opened the champagne that was meant for celebration, drank alone, looking at the night city. The phone beeped. Message from Stephanie. "It was a beautiful dance, in every sense. The last one? It has to be the last." But we both knew that was a lie, because some dances are impossible to forget. The return home was triumphant. Emma organized a party, invited all friends and relatives. "To the best dance duet!" The guests raised their toasts. Stephanie sat across the table, impeccable in a black dress. Only I knew what this smile cost her. "Tell us about the tournament," the guests asked. "It was magical," she replied, not looking at me. After the party, she stayed behind, helping to clean up. We ended up alone in the kitchen, for the first time since that night. "We need to decide," she said, arranging the glasses. "Decide what?" "How to live from now on." She turned to me. "I'm quitting dancing." "What, but we just started—" "Exactly why. I can't be near you and pretend. And I can't be without you." "You can. For her sake, you can." At that moment, Emma walked into the kitchen. "What are you whispering about?" "Mom decided to quit dancing," I said. "What? But why? You're such an amazing couple." "Exactly why," Stephanie quietly replied. Emma didn't understand, but we both did. A week later was the farewell evening at the studio. Mike convinced us to dance one last time. Tango? Stephanie suggested. Tango. This wasn't just a dance. It was our story. Every movement, every turn spoke of what we couldn't say aloud. In the final pose, she whispered, "I love you, and that's why I'm leaving." "I know." The hall applauded while we stood, unable to break our embrace. "It's a shame you're finishing," Mike said. "Such talent." But we knew. Sometimes talent must be sacrificed for something more important. At the exit, she turned. "You know what's scariest?" "What?" "That every time I hear tango, I'll remember you. Us. And I'll remember you in every partner." "Don't. Find a new partner. Live on." "And you?" "And I'll dance our dance in memory, where no one gets hurt." She left in a taxi, leaving behind a light scent of perfume and heaviness in the heart. A month later, a postcard arrived. A photograph of a dancing couple and a note. "Some dances live in the heart forever. But sometimes the best part is the final bow and leaving the stage. Keep dancing, Lucas. For her, for us." I keep this postcard in my dance costume pocket. And every time I step onto the dance floor with a new partner, for a split second I close my eyes and see her, in a red dress with shining eyes. And I understand, some dances never end. They just transition into a new rhythm, the rhythm of memories. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.